Welcome to the Simulation Survivor. Today we're going to be taming and max mutating the Ledumahadi from Paleo Ark's Evo Rulers of the Wastelands mod. The Ledu is not your typical knockout tame. You need to damage it and it will go into a blocking stance and you're going to shoot it to charge up its electricity, and then when it goes to do its clap like it did there, you want to shoot right before it claps and it will damage itself and deal torpor to itself. But be warned, if it does manage to land that clap, it will dismount you and stun you for 10 seconds. It also takes damage during this and doesn't heal, so you need to kill creatures, let it harvest them, and fully heal, just so you don't kill it by accident, like I might have done to 3 other tames. And just keep repeating that process until it eventually knocks itself out, and then once it's knocked unconscious, its preferred kibble is extraordinary. If you don't have that, you can use the basic herbivore foods, such as advanced crops, or if you don't have those, mayho berries. Just take a moment to look at the detail on this creature, even when it's just knocked out. The Paleo Ark team always goes above and beyond. That's why I always add every single one of their mods to my servers. After taming a few Ledus, I headed back to base and got all their best stats onto a breeding pair, and now we're going to start breeding for mutations. And if you're curious what kibble you would get if you throw them into the bio grinder from Bob's Tall Tales, you'll get extraordinary kibble. And here we are with all 255 mutations into every single stat, most notably 115,000 base health. That's insane. And here's the speed test. This is with no levels into speed, and now let's see it with 88 levels into movement speed. So it is zooming. Not the fastest, but still pretty fast. And that's in quadruped stance, which is the fastest. Now let's see it in bipedal. So still pretty fast. Reminds me of a Theory in a way. Now for my personal favorite, the damage test. So this has an awesome ability. You charge up kinetic energy from taking hits, and it has the Sonic Boom clap. Look at that, 4,418, and that's with no levels into melee. So pretty good, and we're still doing 4,418 per slap. And now with 88 levels into melee, we're clapping for 6,617. And we're swiping for 11,029. This is supposed to be a late game tame, and it shows. Look at this. This is busted damage. And these are allowed in boss fights, by the way. There goes a wild Paleo Giga. It also has a ground slam ability that does 11,029. Charges up just like the clap. And now let's see how much they do with mate boost and UD buff. So against this wild Giga, we are tail slapping for 9,000, slapping for 6,000, standing up and slapping for 15,280. That's insane. Wild Giga killed that fast. These are going to be so busted for bosses. Speaking of bosses, I just had to see how much we did against the Broodmother on the center, and we did 43,000 with the clap against her, since she takes a 6 times multiplier. This is just hilarious damage. Shout out to the Patreons for joining me. If you're curious how much health you would have if you put all 88 levels into a max mutated Ledu, you'd have 662,000 health. And if you did the same for weight, you would have 21,000 weight. And if you're wondering why you'd want some high weight on these guys, it's because, well, they're decent at gathering berries and they're great at gathering thatch. I still think a Theory would be a better option for these. It's a multi-use creature. This is just nice to have. And due to their size, they have a big AoE. Now let's see how well they boss. I put all 88 levels into melee, and we're using Crim's saddles. And there goes the Alpha Megapithecus. Now to see how well they do against the Alpha Broodmother. I don't think they're going to have any problem with any of these bosses. And that clap shreds all the minions. It is so good. I didn't have to change any settings to let these guys in the boss arenas, by the way, so they're allowed by default. I normally try to shorten these boss fights, but I don't even have to edit these fights down, just how good they are. Look at that, already dead. Now, time to try Alpha Dragon. The strongest boss on the island, and its fire deals 20% of any creature's base health. But I don't think it's going to matter for these guys. This is the first time the dragon is landing, and I don't think it's going to be able to fly away. It's already showing blood. These things are busted. And keep in mind, we're only using 10 Ledus. We could fit 10 more in here if we really tried. And there goes Alpha Dragon with no problem whatsoever for the Ledus. Shout out to all the Patreons and YouTube members, and members from the free server provided by Nitrado, the sponsor of this series. If you want your own Nitrado server, make sure to check them out. Link in the bio. The server members insisted that we try the Alpha Overseer with the Ledus. I think they'll have no problem, but here we go. If you beat the Alpha Overseer, you will gain 15 extra max levels on your character and ascend off the island. This boss goes through multiple phases. Each time you take off so much health, it will transform into one of the 3 guardians of the island. Upon defeating that form, it will transform back into the Overseer, and then you will repeat this process until it dies. Its first transformation was the Broodmother, and they had no issue with that whatsoever. They quickly made it transform. Basically, as soon as it comes out of that bubble, they're doing enough damage to make it transform again. This time, it went into the dragon. Still has its fire, by the way. But again, it did not seem to matter as they are shredding every boss they come across. And there goes the dragon. Then transformed into the Megapithecus, which died the fastest. And then it went back into the Broodmother. Sometimes it does multiple phases like this. The fewest I've ever had is 3. There goes Brood. And we were finally able to defeat the Alpha Overseer and ascend off the island. Just for fun, I summoned the Desolate Titan on Red Obelisk to see if we could take it out with the Ledus. This is a overpowered modded boss that can summon Gigas as minions as well as other Apex creatures, but it didn't seem to matter. The Ledus were deleting the minions before they could even properly spawn in. The Desolate Titan did fall into the water, which I think made it easier, but the Ledus defeated it without a single casualty. Since they made such short work of the Desolate Titan, I thought we'd try out the Hoppy boss, which I have never seen before, so this is a new one for me. And it wiped the entire tribe. I know what you're thinking, that one's getting away. So they might not be good for the Hoppy boss, but let's see if 2 of them can take on the Alpha Hydra of Astraeos. So the Alpha Hydra has 1.2 million health. It has all the abilities of every Wyvern, and it also has a blinding ability, which makes you incapable of attacking for 30 seconds. That did not matter, as these 2 Ledus were able to defeat the Alpha Hydra of Astraeos, which unlocks the cosmetics that I wear, by the way. Well, if you were ever curious about what a max mutated Ledumahadi could do, now you know. I had a commenter ask about this creature on every single video. I think this would have been day 9 of asking for Ledu if I didn't do it this episode, but I promised to do it for episode 45, which proves if you comment below which creature you'd like to see me max mutate next, it might just be in the next video. If you made it this far, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.